the puppy to help to read with us. Look at this. We have.
I'm gonna try on some other clothes.
She's got puppies going to read about Noah's Ark with us.
Oh,
My daughter's never heard about Noah's Ark or anything like that, so I thought it was important that we read about it. So we're going to start in Genesis chapter 5, the family of Adam. This is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created him male and female, and blessed them and called them mankind in the day they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness after his image, and named him Seth. After he begot Seth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and his sons and daughters. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. But you notice throughout history, people die younger and younger age all the time. But we see through that in our own time frames with new cancers and things that happen. And cancers and stuff weren't very common back in the day, and that's the crazy part. Now cancer is very common. Seth lived 105 years and begot Enosh. After he begot Enosh, Seth lived 870 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days Seth were 912 years, and he died. Enosh lived 90 years and begot Canaan.
909 years.
Yeah. After he begot Canaan, but people didn't have all the illnesses they got now. It's because people poison the earth. And we eat, There's this YouTube video I just watched the other day where the lady she thought it was organic soil, and people put herbicides on the soil, to broadleaf, so anything that was not a grass, it would kill. So stuff they would spray on corn or grass, because corn and wheat and oats and stuff are considered a grass family. It killed her tomatoes. And it was supposed to be composted cow manure. And cows have 4 stomachs. The cows could not get rid of this poison, and now it's being passed on thereafter. So people are being poisoned, so we're not living as long. And sin has to do with that too. People wouldn't have to die, but sin happened. But that's before what we're talking about. And he had sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. Enosh lived 90 years, and he begot Canaan. After he begot Canaan, Enosh lived 815 years. Well, they're just going to keep going on. Methuselah, wickedness and judgment of man. Now it came to pass, and man began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born of them, and that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, they were beautiful. And what he's talking about is when man began to multiply and the daughters are born, that the sons of God, the sons of God saw the daughters of men. He's talking about the angels.
Oh.
So you know how there's fallen angels, and the devil is a fallen angel, right?
Nobody likes the devil.
He's an angel. He's beautiful. He deceives men.
Didn't he try to be better than God?
Yes. And the fallen angels saw that the women were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves, of whom they choose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, and yet his days shall be 120 years. So people are now like, because God don't like it, he's going to cut your life short at 120 years. But, mankind's going to make that shorter, obviously. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children. So in other words, the fallen angels and the beautiful women made babies together, and they were giants, and there's evidence of giants on the earth. You know how they dig up giant bones and stuff? Have you ever seen that? We'll have to look at that. They actually have dug up giant bones, and they're fossilized and everything else, just like dinosaur bones.
So giants are actually real?
Yeah. They're called the Nephilim.
Nephilim?
Mm-hmm. Goliath was a giant.
Wasn't King David too?
No. King David killed Goliath. That's a whole nother Bible story, but I'm proud that you at least knew that much, that you could connect those dots. When the Lord saw the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry he had made man on earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So the Lord had said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing and birds of the air, for I am sorry I have made him. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. So God was mad at everybody in the world because they're all not listening to what God has said, except for Noah. This is the genealogy of Noah. So this is Noah's lineage. Noah was a just man, meaning he was great. He was a straight A-line man. Perfect in the generations. Noah walked with God. So Noah and God were really close. They were bros. All right. They held hands and bromance and all that stuff. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their own way on earth. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark, or go forward. Make rooms inside the ark. Cover it inside out with pitch. So like tar it so that way it's waterproof. You want to waterproof it. And back in the day, they, I'm not sure how long ago this was. I'm not a scientist on that kind of stuff. But like we talked about before this, that there's birds and they can have micromutations and they could create other things like chickens, ducks. But that doesn't mean that they all couldn't fit on this ark. And there's science behind that, and that's why I'd like to go see the replica of the ark.
Cool.
It would be cool, wouldn't it? Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside and outside with pitch. And this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits. So see, this is where they got the measurements from for the replica. Its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. You shall make a window for the ark, and you shall finish it with a cubit from above, and set the door of the ark in its side. You shall make with it a lower, second, and third decks. And behold, I myself am bringing flood waters on the earth to destroy from under heaven all flesh, in which is the breath of life. Everything that is on the earth shall die. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall go into the ark, you, your sons, and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. And every living thing, all flesh, shall bring to you 2 of every sort. So of every sort, every kind. It doesn't mean every species, because mutations happened. And keep them alive with you. They shall make male and female, of the birds of their kind, of the animals of their kind, and every creeping thing on the earth of his kind, 2 of every kind. So they want boy and girl of each, so they can procreate. You shall take for yourself of all food that is eaten, and you shall gather it to yourself, and it shall be for food for you and them. Thus Noah did according to that God commanded him, so he did. Here's the great flood. Chapter 7. Then the Lord said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. You shall take with me 7 of each of every clean animal, a male and female, 2 of each animals that are unclean, male and his female, also 7 of each birds of the air, male and female, to keep the species alive on the face of the earth. For after 7 more days I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And I will destroy the face of the earth, all living things that I have made. And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. So Noah with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood, of clean animals, of animals that were unclean, of birds and everything that creeps in the earth. 2 by 2 they went in the ark to Noah, male and female, as God commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the water of the flood on the earth, in the 600th year of Noah's life, the 2nd month, and the 17th day of the month, on that day the fountains of the great deep were broken, and windows of the heaven were open, and the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day Noah and Noah's sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife and 3 wives of his sons with them, entered the ark. They and every beast after its kind, and cattle of their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, every bird after its kind, and every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark of Noah, 2 by 2, of all the flesh which is breath of life. So those that entered, male and female, all flesh, went in as God had commanded them, and the Lord shut them in. So the door just shut by itself because God did it. Could you imagine everybody trying, and all the animals and everybody, when the floods are coming down, they're trying to fight their way to get in that ark, though, because they're scared? Now the flood was on the earth 40 days. The waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. And the waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth, and all the high hills under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered. I don't know how much a cubit is, and I'm sure we could Google it or something, but all the flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man. All those whose nostrils was breath of the spirit of life, all that was on the dry land died.
Ooh.
And they say that was the Ice Age. It was the flood.
So you're basically saying that's when dinosaurs all died as well?
Yeah.
So God did get to see what dinosaurs looked like.
God made the dinosaurs. What are you talking about?
3 years.
So he destroyed all living things which were on the face of the ground, both man and cattle, creeping thing, and the bird of the air. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those that were with him in the ark remained alive. And the waters prevailed in the earth 150 days. Then God remembered Noah and every living thing and animals that were with him in the ark. And God made a wind pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. So that means the water started to go down. But they were in that ark for over a year.
Wow.
The fountains of the deep and windows of heaven were also stopped, and the rain in the heaven restrained. Well, it rained on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and yeah, I'm not sure. But I'm going to assume it was like a year, because how long is it going to take for all that rain to go away? The fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven also stopped, and the rain from the heaven was restrained, and the waters receded continually from the earth. And at the end of 150 days the waters decreased, and the ark rested on the 17th month, and the 17th of that month, on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. So see, there's the 10th month, so yeah, like over a year. In the 10th month on the first day, the tops of the mountains were seen. So it came to pass at the end of the 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he sent out a raven, which kept going to and fro until the waters had dried up from the earth. He also sent out from himself a dove, to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for the sole of her foot, and she returned the ark to him, for the waters were the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her, and drew her in the ark himself. And he waited yet another 7 days, and yet sent another dove from the ark. Then the dove came to him in the evening, and behold, a fresh plucked olive leaf was in her mouth, and knew that the waters had receded from the earth. So he waited yet another 7 days, and sent out another dove, which didn't return to him anymore. And it came to pass the 601st year, in the first month, in the first day of the month, that the waters were dried up from the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked. And indeed the surface of the ground was dry. In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dried. And God spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing in flesh that is with you, birds and cattle, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, so that they may abound on the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wives and sons' wives with him, every animal, every creeping thing, every bird, and whatever creeps on the earth, according to their families, went out of the ark. And you want to know the story about the rainbow? That's next. Then the Lord built an altar. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took every clean animal and every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a soothing aroma. And the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake, although the imagination of the man's heart is evil from his youth. Nor will I again destroy every living thing as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, day and night shall not cease. So God blessed Noah and his son and said, Be fruitful and multiply in the earth, and fear you and dread you, and in the dread of you shall be on every beast in every earth, for every bird in the air that shall move on the earth, and all the fish of the sea that are given into your hand. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. So everything, yeah. So all these animals God gave to us, it doesn't mean we don't care for them. They are beasts of burden. I have given you all things, even as the green herbs, but you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. So we can't eat blood, but who wants to sit there and just eat blood? But although some cultures do that, they make blood cakes.
It's nasty. What's it on that?
Surely for your lifeblood I will demand a reckoning. From the hand of every beast I will require it. From every hand of man. From the hand of every man's brother I will require life. But yeah. Okay, so I'll skip down to verse 12. And God said, This is the sign of the covenant which I have made between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. It shall be when I bring the cloud over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. The water shall never again become a flood and destroy all flesh. The rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I will look on it and remember everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. And God said to Noah, This is a sign of the covenant I have established between me and the flesh that is on the earth, which means I will never flood the earth again.
So
The rainbow is not pride. The rainbow is a covenant. I will never flood the earth again.
So it's like a sign of God.
It's his promise. A covenant is an oath. It's a promise, a solemn promise. He will never flood the earth again.
Aww.
It has nothing to do with Pride Month. That's blasphemy. So sue me, YouTube. I love you, and so does Jesus. God bless.